Hey, what's up guys? My name is Moda and welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel. Today's video, we're going to be talking KASPA ASICs. We're going to be talking all that FOMO that all of you mofos are feeling. Because I'm sure you are feeling it. Whether you already have miners, you're thinking of getting more, or you're thinking about jumping in, you're thinking about just buying KASPA. Going to talk about that FOMO feeling, going to talk about everything that's going on, and going to talk about if it still makes sense to potentially buy some of these miners. Right? So that sounds good, guys. Stay tuned. Let's get right to this thing. So KASPA has everybody feeling crazy right now, right? Whether you're unexposed and you're like aping in right now and freaking paying 11 cents a KASPA when just a week ago it was half that price, or you guys who are aping into these ASICs, which went up 50% in price in just a matter of days. Talking about whether it makes sense or not, right? Biggest thing I want to harp on right now though, remember this feeling, right? Again, whether you're underexposed and you want to ape in, or you're overexposed and you're like, oh man, it's going to go to 50 cents from here next month. Remember this feeling, because this is a good preparation for the bull market, right? Whether we do go up, whether we do go to 13 cents, 15 cents, 17 cents, or we do retrace down to 7, 8 cents, trust your gut, right? You've been in the market for a little bit. Go with your intuition, look at different things, look at different data points, and come up with your own conclusion as to what you think makes sense. Because a lot of this is going to have to do with your inclination, your trust level, your experience, and what you think is going to happen, right? So this is the big thing, and you have to really, really assess your risk tolerance here, right? Are you really high up on something else where you have more room to degen, right? And that's kind of been my play, right? I've been talking about taking profits and all this stuff throughout the year, and that's kind of just what I'm doing, right? I'm taking profits and then just reinvesting it into more hardware, right? Earlier in the year, I bought some FPGAs, I bought that M2, I bought that Osprey, and now I did just purchase another miner, right? And a lot of it is with profits taken, right? So, but a lot of it has to do with just the fact that I plan these things. I have price points, I have different things, I have different ideas, different theories, just in case it were to happen. Although this specific scenario I wasn't expecting until maybe this spring, but because of this price pump, it kind of changed things. Here, we'll talk about that here in a minute. But KASPA ultimately, again, it's at 11 cents. It has more than doubled in literally days, right? FOMO is at an all-time high, not just from miners wanting to buy ASICs, but just crypto in general, right? It has gotten a ton of exposure, not just from the mining community, but the crypto community in general, right? It's been insane. It's been an insane run. And it's not some little coin anymore, right? It's not, I know some of the expectation, even from myself, was like, oh man, Bitmain's definitely going to manipulate this thing and get it up to a $2.4 billion market cap now, right? At this point, it's just, the hype is real, right? So something to definitely consider. And then it's been crazy, man. And it's not just KASPA right now, it's the entire crypto market. It's, Solana, Bitcoin, like everything has been pumping. Everything is super euphoric. It is insane right now, right? So one heck of a run. We'll see if it continues. We'll see how it goes. But potentially it could, like initially when this first pump first started, it's like, it's going to be like any other pump. It'll start going down. But I think a lot of it has to do just with the ETF hype, right? The expectation is that sometime between now and the next 2 months, it could potentially get approved. So we're in this kind of little bull market. Who knows if it continues, though? A lot of that's going to be just up to you. Again, none of this is financial advice. You have to come up with your own conclusion. These are just things to factor in and consider, right? So the other big thing that's been going through the roof with these guys is that freaking hash rate, right? It's currently at 61.3, although realistically, ultimately, has not been going up as aggressively. Right, this month it kind of did chillax a little bit, especially in comparison to the previous like 3, 4, 5, 6 months, where it was essentially doubling every month. Right, so we're at the point now where it takes a hell of a lot of units to really decrease your yield with that hash rate, right? For it to increase the difficulty, right? So is it potentially still going to go up? For sure, right? Even if the price were to correct, it's not like any other units because they're still going to be extremely profitable. Right? In some cases with some other miners, we say like, oh man, even if the price corrects 50%, we're going to see the difficulty go down. Not here, right? Reason being is that every unit is profitable. Every unit is going to continue to be profitable, even if this thing goes down to a penny, right? These things are so efficient, they make so much revenue that it's going to take a long time for even the smallest, crappiest KS0 to not be profitable, right? So it's going to continue to go up no matter what, right? So just bear that in mind if you are thinking of FOMOing in any of these units, that you're going to have those two forces against you. One is that monthly emissions reduction and the difficulty continuing to go up, right? Again, the biggest mystery here, though, is that we know we're going to go down that 6% every month. That one is on lock. The other big mystery is just the amount of units that Bitmain and IceRiver will be producing, right? If we had that crystal ball, we could make some excellent predictions and see what's going on. Fortunately, we don't, right? It's hard to tell whether, they're going to come out with 1,000 units. It's going to be 3,000 units. It's going to be 5,000 units. Who knows, right? And these are the types of risks that you're taking here, right? You have to factor these in, look for those clues, and see what you make of it, what you think of it, right? So we're currently at 61.3. Again, it has been tapering off, but expect a big increase once all these IceRiver units deliver, because again, the FOMO's all-time high. I'm sure Bitmain sold out of everything as well, so we're going to see those in the next few weeks. And we'll get a better idea of where we stand. But realistically, this did not uptick as much as I had kind of guessed. This was kind of my threshold to seeing how many sold that last batch, right? Although realistically, whatever was left in any capacity is pretty much sold out, right? Just because of all the hype, okay? Let's look at the freaking profitability. This is where it gets insane. The wind miner is number one, but we don't care about the wind miner because, again, it's an unknown. We don't know what's going on with it. It's a lot of variables that I would not go with it, right? If it's one thing, if it was a crazy increase over the others, maybe, but it's not, right? Price-wise, spec-wise, it's not there, right? So that's one I wouldn't not even remotely consider. But the Bitmain KS3, the bigger unit, the 9.4, is $226 a day, right? The yield is $2,091 though. So another thing I will harp on, focus on that yield, right? Because if in a month from now something happens, we retrace, the yield is what you want to focus on. The fiat value can get cut in half. We can go from 11 cents down to 6 cents just as fast as we went up like that, right? So that can go down to 113 bucks. Don't be super surprised like that. So when you're doing your ROI calculations, focus on that yield, not necessarily the fiat value, right? Hopefully it does continue upwards and we go up from there, but focus on the yield. That way you can do more worst case scenario predictions, right? So the IceRiver KS3 is probably one of the better bangs for the buck. It's 192, and that's in stock mode, right? There are overclocks to get this thing to over 9 terahash, so something to consider there. So that's why bang for the buck wise, in comparison with the Bitmain unit, the KS3 is potentially the better buy, right? KS3M at $141, and then it drops kind of drastically from there because, again, the KS3M is 6 terahash. Then the next guy is the KS2, which is a third of that, right? The KS2 is bringing in 47 bucks a day in factory form. This one does have overclocks up to 2.7, which is going to increase a good amount. Bang for the buck wise though, right? Especially for the smaller units, I think it's the KS1. Reason being is these overclocks are a huge game changer, right? Again, the KS1 and the KS2, very similar build. They share the same PSU, which I think is capped out at like 2,000 watts, right? So that's what kind of hinders and holds back the KS2. The KS1 has much more headway, and that's why it can overclock more, right? So the KS1 can get it up to 1.7. Okay, meaning that with 2 KS1s, which it was slightly more expensive, like a couple $100 more expensive to do that versus getting 1 KS2, but you would get a lot more hash if your plan was to overclock that aggressively, right? Because in theory, you can do 2 KS1s, get 3.4 terahash out of it versus the 2.7 on the KS2, right? So just something to consider there. But availability is pretty limited on both of those now because of this pump, right? From everybody FOMOing in. Okay. Prior to this pump, right, prices were freaking good. We had done that video talking about it. The KS1 was at $18.99. The KS2 was at $35.99. And this is from IceRiver. A lot of the stores had lower prices than IceRiver this time, right? They either had them right on par or slightly under, or for those of you buying through like resellers and such, even a good amount lower, right? So this is why when you have to look at that risk versus reward thing and see if it makes sense versus aping in a week later and paying 50% more, right? So something to think about, right? Because again, the KS1 was at $18.99. As we look now, CMC, for example, has it at $2,800, right? It's like a 50 freaking percent increase. Okay, KS2 almost $4,800 when it was $3,600, and a lot of the resellers actually had it down to $3,200. Okay, so it's a significant increase just because of that. Again, so you have to look at those risk versus reward and see if it makes sense to you, right? But realistically, when we look at it comparatively, right? Because realistically, if you were to get a KS2 at $4,700, kind of doesn't make a whole lot of sense when like a KS3M is $9,000, but it's like triple of it, right? Or if you were to overclock the KS2, then it's a little bit more than double, right? So it kind of just depends on how you're looking at things and availability, right? So even like Miner Bros, for example, they have their KS2 at 4,300. Theirs are sold out though, their KS1 and the KS2. It does seem like Coin Mining Central may still have them. Let's click on it. And oh, it's even higher, bros. What the heck? It's a 3,200. So ignore that. Oh, man. It's crazy. And it's only going to go up for this batch, right? Because again, this batch is going to extend. It's from shipping from now until the 30th. Realistically, don't expect this thing to ship until maybe at the end of the month, right? Hopefully like November 30th is when these things will start shipping. Something to keep in mind, we did get a little insight into the next batch for Bitmain. They did do a restock, right? It's going to be, the sales started already. I didn't even check if it's sold out yet or not. But number one, it's at a higher price, right? It's at $17,000, and this thing is not going to ship until December 15th to the 30th, meaning these things aren't going to land until January, right? But the fact that the price got increased to 17K, where we were at 14K, and now it's not going to ship until that timeline, that does give us a little insight that most likely IceRiver will not be doing a price reduction for the next batch if there is a next batch, right? Which most likely there will unless something happens with their production line, right? So then at that point, if you were able to get into that cheap price, shout out to you because you made a huge, very good insight, right? Risk versus reward was there. And especially now with this price pump, right? It makes a lot of sense. And now we do have some insight that there won't be another huge batch because, again, the Bitmain units are the ones we're got to be more aware of because potentially more units, right? I don't really see a ton of units coming from IceRiver, but a lot of KS1s, KS2s, but the ones we're concerned about is how many KS3s they're going to release, right? Bitmain, this could be a fatty one, right? Again, we don't know. That's kind of the hard part, is that a lot of this stuff we just don't know, right? But just when you're doing your different calculations, looking at things, again, focus on that yield. Do your own calculations. Look at other people's calculations. One I would highly recommend. Seb did a video on this a few days ago. If you haven't checked it out, look at it. Look at the different things. Look at the comparisons. I'll put a link in the description to his video. Please check it out if you're considering getting even just like a little KS0, right? Check it out. Look at it. Think about it. Right? One thing I would recommend, focus on the yield amount. Don't necessarily focus on the fiat value because, again, something can happen by the time these things release and we're back down to 5-6 cents, right? But your yield is going to remain the same, right? So just take those things into consideration. As for me, am I purchasing? Did I do anything about it? I did, right? So I did take profits. I did do all that stuff. A lot of it was from KASPA, right? For me, it only makes sense for my strategy for me to do it because, again, KASPA has taken over my portfolio. It's something like 60-70% of my portfolio now, which is crazy because it was only like 2%. So it's ran up that much as I've held it. So I did take profits. A lot of it is from here, right? I do have extra profits that I've taken from other things. My hope, ideally, is that we do retrace sometime between now, maybe the summer. I'm very patient. I have goals in mind. If we do retrace down at the 6-8 cent level, then I'll try to rebuy all the KASPA that I used for that point, and I'm going to be mining it, right? So I did buy a KASPA ASIC. It is an IceRiver ASIC. I did end up going with the KS3M. Reason being is just bang for the buck wise, it is one of the better deals. Again, what I was looking for, I'm more interested in one of the larger units. Realistically, I wasn't expecting to potentially really be looking at it until this spring, right? My ideal price point was maybe January, February, March, depending on how things were going. Maybe they would go down to like 6,000 to 8,000, and that was gonna be my threshold. But because KASPA freaking more than doubled in price, I decided to take profits and use some of that to jump in, right? So we'll see. But by me running the numbers, I am able to degen a little bit just because, again, I did take so many profits on other things, and this is what I'm reinvesting it into, right? The real hope here is to be able to make back that same amount of KASPA I took profits on and then some, right? If things work in my favor, can happen in 2 to 3 months, realistically maybe 4 to 5 months, but who knows, right? A lot of variables, a lot of things can happen. Hopefully it works out, but again, even if it doesn't, I still have a nice allocation, and this is a good way for me to take profits, right? I've been kind of eyeing, been kind of looking, just because I did want to continually have yield. I was going to have to essentially replace the K7 because chances are it's barely going to be profitable or barely going to be break even or potentially at a loss here in just a matter of days, right? So I did want to get something to kind of replace it just to continually generate revenue, even if that guy gets unplugged for a while, right? If this price action stays where we're at, it is going to be break even, and that's after I send it back to BT miners, then it'll just get plugged right back in, right? But who knows? We'll see what happens, but I did eventually get in. For me, the price was there. Ideally, I did want to get like a KS3, like a full big guy, but I was just like, it's a lot of risk. The ideal situation, if KASPA does have another pump, if we do go to 13 cents, 15 cents, I may take a little bit more profits and potentially get a KS2. Reason being is that I like that it's similar efficiency to like one KS3, but that way, if I want to, I have the option of selling one or the other and potentially keeping the other, right? That way, it's like, it's not all in one basket, right? The kind of concern there was such a big unit, if let's say it's a dud and a month later the thing blows up and then I gotta wait forever to get the replacement, like there's a lot of things, right? Versus being able to spread out the risk a little bit, it's kind of more appealing, and it would kind of be almost a little bit cheaper, right? Got the KS3M for about 8K. If I can get a KS2 for $3,600, $3,800, that would bring me to, if I were to overclock the KS2 to 2.7, that would bring me to 8.7 terahash, right? So which is pretty close to like the KS3 numbers, with the option of selling the KS2 or selling the KS3M, right? So it's kind of gives me different options there. So we'll see if KASPA goes to 13, 15 cents here in the short term, or realistically kind of waiting to see if there's a Binance listing here in the next few, because if that were to happen, that's going to be super bullish, and that may be the last big catalyst, right? For now, who knows? Maybe it continues to go up. Maybe it goes to 17 cents, 20 cents, whatever. But I was okay with taking those profits, mainly because the goal here, again, is to reaccumulate the amount of KASPA I sold and hopefully add to that bag, right? So I'm not going to do my ROI calculation based on the fiat value. It's on the amount of KASPA used, right? But we'll see what happens. We'll see if it pans out. We'll see how long this thing takes to ship. Probably won't be getting it until like mid-December. Hopefully sooner. We'll see what happens. But just want to give you that update, guys. Just take a good look at things. Consider these things. I know it's super hard because it's like KASPA, 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 KASPA everywhere. I was almost reluctant to do a video on it, but I did just want to put it out there. What I was doing, what I'm planning, what I'm thinking. But again, do your calculations. Look at different things. Look at different calculators. Hop onto the Discord. Please check out Seb's video. Watch this thing in its entirety so you can get a really good grasp of what you may be getting yourself into, right? Again, whether it's just a little KS0 or one of the higher end guys, just factor a lot of these things in, right? Just think about different things, different scenarios, and also just factor in that a lot of us, it's like we're able to degen a little bit more just because we've been in the game a little bit longer. We have a little more risk tolerance, a little bit more money to blow if we come up on things. Like, again, that's mainly how I've been just adding units, is taking profits on the existing infrastructure and increasing it from there, right? So take these things into consideration. I know it's super hard when you see the FOMO, like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. risk tolerance, guys. Make sure you're able, don't overextend yourself, don't over leverage yourself. Make sure you look at these things and look at the worst case scenarios and think about what can happen, right? Because again, I did make this unit. I can potentially get wrecked, right? Who knows? Maybe freaking 2 months from now, Bitmain drops 10,000 units, and here we go, right? But again, I have done calculations. I ran my numbers. For me, it made sense, right? So, just letting you know what I did, guys. Let me know what you guys are doing. Did you guys get a KS0 Pro? Did you get a KS1? Were you able to get in before this pump? Shout out to you guys. I know quite a few of you guys did buy KS1s, KS2s. Looking like a pretty damn good choice if you got it prior to this pump, right? Especially right after that initial dip. Excellent, excellent timing, right? So let me know, guys. Let me know what you guys are doing, what you guys are planning. Are you going to wait a little bit longer? Are you just going to buy? Or do you think KASPA's going to dump in the next month? Or do you think this thing's going to 20, 30 cents after we get that Binance listing, right? Let me know, guys, in the comments. Please comment, like, and subscribe, guys. Thank you for watching, and I am out.